I recently returned from a trip to Iceland with my husband for our 10th wedding anniversary. We began our trip in Reykjavik, the country's capital, and marveled at how uncity-like this capital city actually felt. And yet, as you walk around, you can tell the people of Reykjavik have carved out their own unique identity. Crowds, however, were pretty much non-existent, and even heavily touristed spots such as Gullfoss, part of the Golden Circle and the country's largest waterfall, and Stroker, Iceland's version of Old Faithful that blows on average every 4.3 minutes, had minimal crowds compared to what you would find in other major travel destinations around the world. We walked among and behind many a waterfall, so many in fact that I forgot this one's name. This one's called Skogafoss. And we marveled at the geological wonders, like these basalt columns on a beach in Vik. This black sand beach. Lava fields covered in a moss so soft and lush, I honestly wanted to lie down and take a nap on it. And this jaw-dropping gorge that is so impossible to pronounce, I'm just gonna let you make the attempt. Yeah, good luck with that. We also said hi to some sheep along the road. Sometimes they were even on the road. And on occasion, we wondered if we were still on Earth.
So, I'm just curious if we are in Iceland or on the moon, based on the scenery. The only indication that we are in Iceland is the time. It's after 10 o'clock at night, and it's really light out. In fact, the sun is right there. It doesn't look like, well, it's behind the clouds, but it doesn't look like it's setting anytime soon. But yeah, it still looks like we're on the moon.
But then we'd find hidden gems like this secluded glacial lagoon filled with icebergs, but seemingly bereft of tourists, and we'd be reminded of the beauty and enchantment contained on this little blue planet we call Earth. This glacial lagoon, known as Jökulsárlón, was much more heavily touristed than some of the other places we visited. But again, heavily touristed is a relative term for a country of only about 320,000 people, which I still cannot wrap my brain around how a country functions with only some 300,000 people. I mean, Michigan Stadium is packed with over 100,000 people during home games in the fall. How can a country run with what is essentially 3 weekend crowds of Michigan games? And yet it does. For some reason, I found the following amusing as I attempted to wear my husband's hat, a nod to this year's Caldecott winner.
This is not my hat.
One of the most memorable parts of our trip was a visit to the Blue Lagoon, which is essentially a giant hot tub. Iceland is rife with geothermal energy, and so they decided to turn the runoff from a geothermal power plant into a major tourist destination. Let's just be glad Iceland isn't rife with nuclear power plants, am I right? We also had some of the best Indian food of our lives, in Iceland, of all places. But I would return to Reykjavik just to eat at this restaurant that, well, I can't pronounce the name of. But one of the worst experiences of our trip, for me anyway, was this horseback riding excursion where I thought for sure my horse Freya was going to throw me from her back. Still, even with a stubborn horse and even more stubborn weather, we only had half a day of sun the whole 7 days. Iceland is filled with astounding beauty, where natural wonders seem to appear around every corner. And as we ended our trip back in Reykjavik, I thought to myself, this is a country more people should take time to see.